Some rappers wear their gang affiliations on their sleeve, repping their set everywhere they go.
Get it in. Neighborhood!
But then there are those who keep it low-key, quietly connected to some seriously dangerous crews, from MC Hammer rolling with a deadly squad.
Oh, his entourage was something like I never seen in my life. Like it was literally
100 people.
More than 100 people.
So basically he came with Hammer like, hey man, it's LA and everything, man, and things can happen, you know what I'm saying? You have to holler at me, man, you know what I'm saying? Holler at me for protection. Hammer said, protection for what? See, man, I got 12 bodyguards out there. 5 of them straight killers. You know what I'm saying? So, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I don't need no protection.
To Eminem's surprising ties to the ruthless Samoan gangs.
DJ Muggs, Soul Assassins, Cypress Hill.
So Eminem was getting extorted by some Crips.
Meaning that they're saying you can't come out here unless you pay us or...
Yeah.
These are the famous rappers with secret connections to dangerous gangs.
From Compton, I could have easily came out and said, I did this, I did that. I done killed a whole bunch of but just giving off fact where I'm from.
Now, let's kick things off with Kanye West. Remember back when Kanye and Drake were beefing? Their rivalry got extra heated when they both dropped albums around the same time. Donda for Kanye and Certified Lover Boy for Drake.
Up now to this text from him, passive, sends me as something I did. Yo, I love you, brother. Lift Yourself comes out with him just talking nonsense.
But in the middle of all that drama, something crazy came to light. What happened was Drake went on OVO Sound Radio and leaked an unreleased Kanye song called Life of the Party featuring Andre 3000.
Life of the party.
Now, that in itself was wild, but what really caught everyone's attention was one specific lyric in the song. At one point, Kanye raps about his fallout with Drake, saying, I told Drake don't play with me on GD.
It was a new Abu Dhabi, told Drake don't play with me on GD, and he sent that message to everybody.
And just like that, the internet went crazy. Because if you didn't know, GD stands for Gangster Disciples, one of the most notorious and violent gangs that have been running the streets of Chicago for decades. For a while, some fans had already been wondering if Kanye had some kind of affiliation with the GDs. One of the first signs came during his early Donda listening parties when he was spotted backstage wearing some exclusive merch that had a 6-pointed Star of David combined with a Christian cross, which just so happens to be a symbol that the Gangster Disciples used to rep their set. But right before Donda dropped, Kanye was spotted in the studio with a Chicago rapper named Ruga. If you're familiar with Chicago drill music, then you already know Ruga was making a lot of noise at the time with a track called GD Anthem, a song that was literally an anthem for the Gangster Disciples.
They done let the GDs in the dough. Hey, they done let the GDs in the dough. Yeah.
Now, not only was Ruga working with Kanye behind the scenes, but at Kanye's third Donda listening party in Chicago, he actually brought Ruga out on stage to perform GD Anthem in front of an entire stadium. But the connections don't stop there. If you go back and listen to the track Jesus Lord on Donda, you'll notice something interesting towards the end of the song. There's an extended monologue from none other than Larry Hoover Jr.
All my life, man, I've been waiting for my father to come home.
For those who don't know, Larry Hoover Sr. is the founder of the Gangster Disciples and has been locked up for decades. He's currently serving a life sentence in ADX Florence, one of the most high-security and isolated prisons in the US. But why was Larry Hoover Jr. even on Kanye's album? Well, remember when Kanye went through his phase of rocking the MAGA hat and running around with Donald Trump? At the time, people thought Kanye had completely lost his mind. But what a lot of people didn't realize was that he was actually doing all of that to help Larry Hoover.
The sentence?
6 consecutive life sentences in the most secure prison in the world.
So it's very important for me to get Hoover out.
Next up is Eminem. Back in 2003, Eminem teamed up with the legendary Booyah Tribe on their single 911.
DJ Muggs, Soul Assassins, Cypress Hill.
But this wasn't just your average rap collab. It had way more layers to it. For those who might not know, the Booyah Tribe wasn't just a hip-hop group. They were deeply tied to the Samoan gangs of Los Angeles.
We all got some gangsta this Saturday, man.
What?
And if you're familiar with gang culture, you'd know that the Sons of Samoa are no joke. They might come across as chill and easygoing, but when provoked, they're known to snap. And the consequences can be deadly.
Did you catch this? 100% Samoan.
Back in 2020, Booyah Tribe's nephew, Monstagunja, revealed that back in the day, his uncles weren't just rappers. They were also working as security for Eminem.
And didn't they do security for Eminem a little bit when M used to come out to the West Coast? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Turns out, Slim Shady was being extorted by the Los Angeles Crips. This kind of extortion even has a name: checking in. Essentially, when a rapper or celebrity travels to a city, especially one with a heavy gang presence like Los Angeles, they're often expected to check in with the local gangs or street bosses. And if you refuse, there are usually consequences, and not the kind you'd want to deal with.
You better check in. Mad gangster. Straight up.
But the Booyah tribe came through for Eminem. They stepped in, protected him, and in return, got a feature on that track.
So Eminem was getting extorted by some Crips.
Meaning that they're saying you can't come out here unless you pay us, or...
Yeah, man.
This might also explain why Eminem never seemed scared of Suge Knight. Take, for example, the time when 50 Cent was filming the music video for Inda Club. Out of nowhere, someone yelled, "Suge Knight is here." That single sentence threw the entire set into chaos. Suge showed up with about 30 men, reportedly members of a Mexican gang.
This is why I always respected Eminem, 50, and with us. So Suge came, he had some Mexican. We from New York. You ain't never seen a tattoo on his forehead. He liked the cigar, and he trying to see what you gonna do. So Eminem, 50, everybody outside.
Amidst this tension, Eminem was also present at the video shoot. True to form, Eminem did not back down.
This is when I knew Eminem was real. He's like, I don't give a man. This is when I knew, I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real 50 what's up?
Then there's the story from the 2001 Source Awards. Eminem was there performing with his group, D12. Normally, artists could have their bodyguards nearby at these events, but for some reason, the rules that night required bodyguards to sit separately from the artists. That left M in a vulnerable spot, which Suge and his crew didn't hesitate to exploit.
I was walking to his seat, I'm standing off to the side, and M was cut off on his way to his seat, and all these guys in red shirts surrounded him. And I'm looking at M's face, and I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, am I right?
According to Eminem's former bodyguard Big Naz, things got sketchy fast. M ended up surrounded by a group of intimidating guys wearing red shirts, a clear signal they were affiliated with the Bloods, the gang Suge Knight was known to have ties to. Big Naz quickly realized something was off and sprinted across the venue to get to Eminem.
He said, "Death row, this death row about, this death row life." I was like, "Death row, what's it got to do with him?" He said, "Hey man, Suge sending a message."
However, despite all this tension, it's highly likely that if Suge Knight had ever laid a hand on Eminem, he would have faced serious consequences. Thanks to Eminem's connection to the Samoan gang, a group even Suge was known to tread carefully around.
I was like, what's up? Suge Knight scared of you. Suge Knight scared of you. When I talked to him, man, is Suge really this, really that? I was like,
but
I'm Samoan, man. I don't give I don't care. You King Kong, you Godzilla, you gonna get
Yes, sir. Next up is MC Hammer, and he is no joke. Anyone who's ever crossed him will tell you that firsthand.
That goddamn MC Hammer, very serious about beef. Y'all laugh and y'all joke about Hammer. No. MC Hammer was there. That me. He was like, "Red, I'm gonna tell you something, you young, but I don't allow nobody talking about my mama. You understand me?" I said, "Yes, sir."
Sure, he had the flashy dance moves, the parachute pants, and a style that didn't exactly scream tough guy. But behind all that, Hammer had real street cred. He was well-connected, highly respected, and backed by a crew that didn't play around.
Yo, his entourage was something like I never seen in my life. Like, it was literally
100 people.
More than 100 people.
During his peak era, MC Hammer was everywhere, on your TV in music videos, commercials, movies, and even cartoons. His album's success propelled him into hip-hop superstardom, and he was living the high life with the spotlight all on him. To the outside world, it looked like nothing could go wrong. Like his path was completely smooth. But fame has a way of bringing its own set of challenges. While Hammer was loved by millions, he also faced a ton of criticism. The media, fans, and even his fellow artists had a lot to say about him.
Are you a rapper or not?
Well, in one unescapable aspect, yes, and that is the fact that I don't sing.
Some people in the industry just didn't know what to make of MC Hammer. To them, he didn't seem like the typical hip-hop artist. With his clean-cut image, carefully choreographed dance routines, and those famous parachute pants, he seemed like an easy target. Plenty of rappers thought Hammer was soft, a guy from Oakland they could diss in their songs without worrying about any consequences. But they couldn't have been more wrong. Sure, Hammer's stage persona was flashy and energetic, but off-stage, he had some serious street ties. In fact, his family was connected to Felix Mitchell, one of Oakland's most infamous drug lords. Mitchell was the leader of the 69 Mob, a criminal organization that dominated the drug trade in the area. At the height of his empire, Mitchell was reportedly making over $1 million a month selling crack and heroin, and his operation controlled much of Oakland, including the neighborhood Hammer grew up in. Even after the FBI took down Felix Mitchell and dismantled his organization in 1985, Hammer and his brothers had already spent their formative years surrounded by some of Oakland's most powerful gangsters. So while Hammer's public image might have been polished and commercial, behind the scenes, he had deep-rooted connections to the streets. When people started mocking him in the industry, Hammer took stock of the situation and made sure to handle things wisely. For instance, the beef between Hammer and Third Bass. The tension started when Hammer dissed Run DMC, and Third Bass responded by taking it up a notch. They came at Hammer in their song The Cactus, specifically targeting his mother. The line, "The cactus turned Hammer's mother out," was a double entendre, referencing both their 1989 Cactus album and Hammer's hit record from the same year, Turn This Mutha Out.
So we were saying our album was doper, but we were saying it in New York City. We had some slick talk coming out our mouth.
Right.
Hammer thought we were talking about us mom.
That jab didn't sit well with Hammer or his family, especially his brother Louis Burrell. In a 2015 interview, MC Serch, a member of Third Bass, revealed just how serious things got. While flying to Los Angeles, Def Jam president Carmen Ashurst Watson received a chilling phone call. A voice on the other end asked, "Is Third Bass on their way to LA?" When she confirmed they were, the caller, who identified himself as Louis Burrell, reportedly said, "Good, they're dead." According to Serch, the threat was no idle talk. He claimed fellow Def Jam artist Eric B. confirmed that there was $50,000 hit out on them, allegedly to be carried out by the Los Angeles Crips.
Here's somebody say, is Third Bass on their way to LA? And she goes, yeah. And the voice says, "Good, they're dead. This is Louis Burrell," and hangs up. Eric B. basically puts a feeler out and finds out it's true, that there's a hit out on Third Base with the Crips.
To keep things from spiraling out of control, Russell Simmons, co-founder of Def Jam, took precautions and had Barefoot Boogie, a well-known figure in the hip-hop scene, act as security for Third Bass during their stay in LA. Even with Boogie watching their backs, tensions were high. One day, Serch and his girlfriend went to a mall while Boogie kept an eye on them. Things seemed fine until a group of Crips showed up while Serch was signing autographs for fans. The gang members started pressing him, but Boogie managed to step in and defuse the situation before it got ugly.
I'm signing autographs, and I look up, and I'm signing autographs, and as they get closer, the dude over here, he pulls the rag up. Dude over here, he pulls the rag up. And as they come up to me, Pookie whistles. Everything stops. He throws up some signs. It's one dude right in front of me who's got his hand on his ratchet, pulls down his mask, and he goes, "Yo, man, I love that record, but I was finna smoke you right now, homie."
Instead of taking this as a warning to lay low, Serch decided to keep the feud alive. The very next day, while on a live radio show, he called MC Hammer a B and accused him of hiding behind his goons. That reckless comment didn't go unnoticed. The radio station received a phone call from someone claiming to be a member of the Rollin 60s Crips, warning Serch, "We're going to kill you."
You know what? I said, man, if you feel like we just you're matriarchal, that's okay, but you know what you did. You know what's going on in these streets. Why don't you man up and see me face to face live? Greg Mack, who's this? Rollin 60 Crip N-word, we finna kill them. Boop! Out!
Understandably shaken, Third Bass bolted from the station. They jumped into their car and headed back to their hotel. But as they drove, a car full of Crips began tailing them, making it clear they weren't playing games. The Crips even pointed guns at them, sending a very real message that they meant business. Somehow, Serch and his crew made it back to their hotel unharmed, but the incident left them terrified. For the remainder of their press tour in Los Angeles, Third Bass wore disguises and avoided public appearances as much as possible. As soon as they wrapped up their promo duties, they got out of the city. Even years later, Serch admitted the experience left lasting scars. In a 2018 interview with Vlad TV, he shared, "I've been through 25 years of therapy 3 days a week. I'm not good. I wish I could be good. But when somebody tries to kill you over a rap lyric, it's hard to explain what that does to you."
Not good. I've gone through 25 years of therapy 3 days a week. I am not good. I wish I could be good. But when somebody tries to kill you over a rap lyric?
So because of this drama, some sources started linking Hammer to the Crips, but this was all just speculation. Hammer never claimed any gang affiliation in his life. In fact, he and his deadly gang made an OG Crip member apologize to him. Benito, one of Hammer's vocalists, shared an incident from back in the day. After an event in Los Angeles, Hammer and his crew were packing into their vans to head back to the hotel when they noticed a familiar face rolling up. Michael Concepcion. Now Michael isn't just any guy, he's one of the original founders of the Crips, a major figure in gang circles. He's been in a wheelchair since 1977 after a gang-related shooting left him paralyzed. Michael still carried a lot of weight in the streets, and he rolled up on Hammer with a crew of Crips in tow. Michael told Hammer they needed to talk. Basically, he offered Hammer protection while he was in LA, warning him that anything could happen in the city.
It's this dude in his wheelchair and about 4 or 5 dudes with him, hanging out. I know they Crips because my cousins all Crips in LA. So I'm like, there's some gangbangers. What they doing out here? He's like, "Hey, I want to holler at you for a minute, Hammer."
Hammer was taken aback by the whole thing and asked why he'd need protection when he had his own squad of bodyguards. 12 of them, in fact, and these guys weren't your average security detail. Some of them were straight up killers. So Hammer wasn't feeling like he needed Michael's help. Michael didn't seem to like Hammer's response and kept pushing, saying Hammer should watch his back.
I was like, "Protection for what? See, man, I got 12 bodyguards out there, and 4 or 5 of them straight killers. You know what I'm saying? So what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I don't need no protection. Man, you need to holler at me, man. If you don't, something could happen to you, whatever." He said, "What you trying to say?" He said, you need to go ahead and, take care of that and everything will be cool."
That's when things got heated. Hammer's bodyguards were ready to handle the situation right then and there, but Hammer held them back. Instead, he made it clear to Michael that one phone call from him could shut the whole thing down. Hammer wasn't bluffing either. The next morning, Michael actually came back to apologize, showing just how much respect Hammer commanded.
Our people looking like, "Yeah, I'm waiting for you to move." Hammer, hey, what's up? He said, "Hey, man, it's like this. I'll make one phone call and all this will go away." "What's up, man?" He said, "Man, I apologize for the thing. I didn't know, the people you knew and whatever, this and that. And I apologize for what I did, brother. It's all good. We cool. We good." And Hammer's like, yeah, it's all right.
Next up is Ja Rule. Now, even though Ja Rule was never affiliated with any gang before, the moment his rap career took off and he got signed to Murder Inc. Records, owned by Irv Gotti, everything changed. From there, he became connected to Supreme McGriff, a notorious drug lord and gangster. And this relationship would be the key factor in the beef between Ja Rule and 50 Cent, a rivalry that ultimately led to 50 Cent getting shot 9 times. To really understand how all this went down, we need to go back to the early 1980s. That's when Supreme founded a gang named after himself, the Supreme Team, based in the Jamaica section of Queens, New York. Under his leadership, the gang grew to have hundreds of members and controlled the crack coke trade in the Basley Park houses, where McGriff grew up. The gang was pulling in about $200,000 a day. But in 1987, McGriff was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He got out on parole in 1994, but by the end of that year, he was back behind bars. It wasn't until 1997 that he managed to get his convictions cleared and started a new chapter in his life. He got involved with Ja Rule and the folks at Murder Inc., where he became one of the main players offering protection to the label's artists. During this time, Prom and 50 had a decent relationship, but 50's career was floundering. He wasn't a star yet and was far from being a famous rapper like Ja Rule. Things were tough for him, so he started dissing the entire industry in his song How to Rob, just to get some attention and make a little money off his album. Then came the infamous beef with Ja Rule. According to 50, his friend Troy had robbed Ja. When Ja and 50 later met at a club, 50 wanted to clear the air, but Ja thought 50 was involved in the robbery. Ja later confirmed the robbery happened, but denied ever seeing 50 with the guy who robbed him.
But it had nothing to do with him. Like, I didn't even know you know this dude.
Supreme stepped in and asked 50 to stop harassing Ja, and since Prime was someone 50 looked up to, he agreed. But he kept dissing Ja in his song Your Life's on the Line, even though he cut out some lines mocking Ja as a studio gangster who needed Prem's help to get his chain back, out of respect for Prem. In 1999, a tragic event shook both Prem and 50. Their mutual friend Black Just was killed. The story goes that rapper E-Moneybags wanted to buy a car from Prem and had paid a deposit. When E-Moneybags wanted his money back, Prem laughed it off, telling him to forget about it. One day, E-Moneybags shot at Premi while he was in a car with Black Just got hit twice, including in the thigh. Instead of going straight to the hospital, which was nearby, Prem went to the hood and asked someone else to take Just to the hospital. This delay cost Just his life, making E-Moneybags some serious enemies.
Just like that, he said that wasn't for Just. I just looked at him, man, and I say, E, that is Just. He's dead.
Now, the beef with Ja Rule didn't really cool down, and Prem was always in Ja's corner, trying to talk 50 Cent into chilling out and stopping the harassment. But 50 wasn't too thrilled that Prem kept siding with Ja. Plus, Prem didn't see 50 as a potential superstar anyway. Why bother changing things up when you're making good money from an established star like Ja Rule? Then, things really blew up when Ja and 50 performed at the same club and ended up in a brawl. 50 walked away with Ja Rule's chain, which he even flaunted in the music video for Life's on the Line. Naturally, Ja ran to Prem again to get his chain back. At this point, Premi was getting fed up with 50 because he was messing up his superstar's image, and this was the second time he had to step in to fix things for Ja. 50 was determined to bring down Murder Inc., and his relationship with Premi kept getting worse. Tony Yayo also shared a story about one of the encounters between Premi and 50 when their relationship was falling apart, where 50 showed Premi that he wasn't scared of him.
50 up there. Prem, dude, you know the old school. You know what 50 did? Yeah.
We're back, yeah.
Oh, you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
Things hit a boiling point when 50 released the track Ghetto Quran, which leaked and got into Prem's hands. In the song, 50 mentioned Prema, and that didn't sit well with him at all.
You slow I'ma break it down illa. Supreme was the businessman and Prince was the killer.
Around this time, someone almost killed Supreme at a gas station, and Supreme thought 50 Cent was behind it. So he decided to take out his enemies, with 50 being the first on the list. Prem allegedly hired Daryl Baum, aka Homo, who was once Mike Tyson's bodyguard, to kill 50 Cent for a hefty price. But according to Detective Bill Courtney, who worked on the case, it wasn't Homo who shot 50, but a guy named Son. Apparently 50 had assumed it was Homo.
Kenneth McGriff, a guy named Son from East New York, and a guy named Godby, who's a 5%er and a former member of the Supreme team, acting in concert, shoot 50 Cent. 50 looks up, he's getting shot, so it's hard to see, and he turned to the guy he was with and said, I think that was Homo. Now, Homo was a guy named Daryl Baum, so he had it in his head that Homo probably took the contract to get him, because he had trouble with the Supreme team, he had trouble with the Murder Inc. Records guys.
But after everything, as we know, Supreme got what was coming to him. He was arrested and sentenced to life. And then there's Nick Cannon. Now, some might argue he's not really a rapper, but he definitely fits into this list. Turns out, he has real ties to one of the most notorious gangs out there, the Bloods. His father, James Cannon, was actually one of the founding members of the Lincoln Park Bloods.
Pops is one of the first 10 homies from my turf, you feel me?
Whoa.
Yeah, bar.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nick Cannon Pops is one of the original
Lincoln Park Bloods.
In an interview with Vlad TV, Nick Cannon opened up about his upbringing in Southeast San Diego, a neighborhood where gang culture was just a part of life. He mentioned that while he never officially joined a gang, it was impossible not to be influenced by that environment. He recalled how certain colors and styles were a big deal during the gang culture boom of the early 90s.
Like the cat you grew up with, and then this was
gangbanging.
Yeah, you know, I'm not actually, if anything, I was always trying to get away from it. I was glorified. I definitely was wearing my Dickies and you know, certain colors and the Chucks.
Was it a Crips set, Blood set?
But Nick Cannon made it clear. He never tried to glamorize the gang lifestyle. He admitted that he grew up around a blood set, but always aimed to stay away from that life.
You know, it was one of those things where I never even tried to glorify that because I felt like, you know, I got out of that unscathed. I mean, I lost a lot of friends to, you know, senseless gang violence.
He had a defining moment when he realized that entertainment was his way out of the dangerous streets of Southeast San Diego. That moment came when he almost got shot, forcing him to choose between staying in his violent neighborhood or chasing his dreams in Hollywood.
I remember even having this conversation with my family, like, yo, a lot of my friends are getting shot. A lot of people I know close to me are dying. I have an opportunity to be in this entertainment thing. The next day you can, you know, take a train ride to Los Angeles and don't have to deal with any of that because you're in Hollywood. Yo, man, once Nickelodeon called, I locked in. I forgot about all of that stuff.
So yeah, Nick Cannon's life could have taken a completely different turn if things had played out another way.